All right, and good morning. Hey, the thing's still there. I turned it off everywhere else, I promise. So, how we doing this morning, guys? Good morning. I see Steve in the comments there. And I'm not going to piddle around too much this morning. I want to jump right into this because I'm laughing my ass off. Ooh. So I have this article from Fox News. San Francisco activists gather at Pelosi's home to serve eviction notice. Homeless advocates want House Speaker to reconvene Congress to pass an extension to the eviction moratorium. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, the solution, the Democrat solution to every problem is just don't pay them. Right? I had an activist client, one of my earliest clients in videography, activist client. We've alluded to the event once or twice, but I won't discuss it in too great a detail, generally. But in that particular event, hey Lucas, you're with us this morning. Long time, brother. Good to see you. But we had this client, absolute shit show of an event. And then, of course, once the event was done, complained about the video. And mind you, no complaints about the quality of the product. All the complaints were, well, I was expecting you to get this shot, and this shot. And I'm like, that's why we have a shot meeting and write a shot list beforehand. You declined to do that, so you get the shots that I think you needed. You sit down and do the work, or you don't get the work done. It's not complicated. So what's the answer? Well, just don't pay them. Oh. Right? So, yeah, Democrat answer is just don't pay them. So, housing and homeless advocates protested outside of Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home Saturday, demanding the House Speaker reconvene Congress to pass an extension to the expiring eviction moratorium. Here's the thing. Okay, on the face of it, this is just like basically every other leftist position. You know, on the face of it, you know, like for example, not having a baby sounds super convenient. So you don't need to think too hard about who you're murdering in order to sacrifice that little life on the altar of ecumenical politics and Moloch. And this is similar. So, these poor people, they're losing their job because well, the psychopaths decided to shut the country down. Now people don't have jobs, can't afford the rent. Who do you think hires those people? People who own land. Right? Landowners, homeowners, business people, entrepreneurs who started a business, turn a decent profit, and then buy a property for a rental for an investment property, and then roll that profit into buying another one. Right? And why are you renting? Because you're either too broke or too dumb to buy. Right? That's how that happens. You find yourself in a little bit of a spot and you find yourself renting, which is easier to do, but long-term less expensive than buying. Not complicated. Not complicated. So, the eviction moratorium is just one more way to reach your hand into somebody else's pocket and steal their money. Because guess what there was not a moratorium on? The mortgages of those landowners. The property taxes of those landowners. Hey, you quit paying rent for a year? While you weren't paying rent for a year, did you insist that the landlord... Did you take a year off from insisting that the landlord make sure that the toilets keep flushing without flooding your house? Go shut up your nose. Right? So, moratorium's ending, and there's there is a lot of panic going on right now because as the I hit the button, do the thing. Anyway, as the moratorium on evictions is ending, we're also facing, climbing and terrifying unemployment. And okay, throughout the whole period that the government was refusing to let landowners and landlords enforce the rent, right? And actually collect the rent that they're due. Throughout that whole period, the government was giving people money. Just dumping money, right? Just pouring it out on them. Right? Just dumping money on these people. So you're stealing money by dint of law from the landlords while having money stolen from legitimate taxpayers to be dumped back into your pocket. And yes, from legitimate taxpayers. Here's the thing. By a wide margin. By a very wide margin. The vast majority of taxes are paid by the top 10%. The bottom 50% of Americans pay no taxes. And the bottom 25% of those pay negative taxes. The people, the majority of the people who were actually qualified under the rules to receive the various COVID stimulus packages, right? If you got the full boat, it's because you don't actually pay. You're not a net tax contributor. Which means that in order for you to get that, it's going to come out of my return. Your total return, you mean? The return with your child tax credits on it? That return? The return that is subsidized by the higher income earning taxpayers? That return? Yes. That's right. It was not a stimulus program. It was a wealth redistribution program. If the government hands you money without a contract for work, that's a wealth redistribution program. It's not complicated. So, the House adjourned Friday for summer recess without passing legislation to extend a nationwide ban on evictions that is set to expire Saturday, prompting outrage from the progressive squad and an overnight protest at the Capitol. Hey, okay, so I already said good morning to Lucas and Steve. I see Jamie's here, Krista's here, and Megan is watching this morning. Good morning, sunshine. Thanks for joining us. I don't see Ma and Granddad. They must be enjoying that big, beautiful house that they're babysitting this week. Or chasing Roger's damn cats. Good luck, guys. About 40 activists headed to Pelosi's home on Saturday to tape an eviction notice on her door to remind the speaker that millions of Americans will be facing eviction starting this weekend while she sleeps comfortably in her posh home. I see Military Mike is in the chat too. Good morning, brother. Good morning. Jackie Fielder. So let's be clear. This is hilarious, okay? This is hilarious because what these people are doing with their eviction notice protest, they're protesting, they're petitioning the government, they're petitioning their representative of the government for a redress of grievances. But let's be very clear on what their grievance is. They've showed up to Nancy's house to complain that Nancy is not stealing enough money for them. Okay, stay with me. Democrats are complaining that Nancy Pelosi is insufficiently larcenous. Yeah. Okay, let's not forget, we're talking about the same Nancy Pelosi who, in collusion with her husband, was involved in a massive profiteering scandal, which basically what she was accused of by ethics complaints and investigations was that they had vested financial interests in credit card companies and banking interests, which directly benefited from massive financial legislation revamps, overhauls. Right? They changed rules to benefit companies in which they had massive financial interests. And guys, Pelosi's dirty. Like, you can sit there and say, yeah, well, all politicians lie. It's what they do. No. Pelosi's at least as dirty as Biden. And Biden is so dirty that he squints. The reason that we're at her house is that she has a beautiful mansion in Pacific Heights in San Francisco, and it shows how out of touch she is with the people that are facing a situation of eviction. Christian Evans, one of the activists outside of Pelosi's home, told Fox News, "Shouldn't still be enough money. I'm money." Who? Evans says the housing and homeless crisis. Whoop, wrong. There it is. Evans says the housing and homeless crisis was already bad in San Francisco. Excuse me. But coronavirus made it worse, with people losing their jobs and facing medical emergencies. Okay. Guys, San Francisco. All right, I want you to understand something about San Francisco. And to understand it correctly, let's take a moment and look at Venezuela, Russia, China, North Korea. I can do this all day, okay? San Francisco is where the Democrats have had absolute monoparty, one-party control for a long time. Right? This is true for a lot of major cities, especially those in California. But look at Venezuela, Russia, etc., and some little commie shithead kid who's been through philosophy 101 will say, "Oh, well, real Marxism hasn't been tried. Real communism's never been tried." Yeah? Real Democrat social policy's never been tried. Oh, allow me to offer San Francisco, California, where every Democrat policy wet dream has been implemented. And the result is clear. You have active depravity and perversion rampant in the streets, runaway homeless problems, used, discarded drug needles and other drug paraphernalia litters the streets, along with human feces. They have a problem with people crapping in the street sufficient to warrant the taxpayer expenditure of $80,000 per annum per service unit to have a multiple person team of essentially sidewalk janitorial staff whose job it is, they're called the Poop Patrol. And their job is to go out into San Francisco and clean up the human feces off the ground. Right? This is, you take a moment, look at California, look at San Francisco in particular. Now that you've seen that, okay, Venezuela, Russia, etc., real communism's never been tried. Now we get to look at San Francisco. Real Democrat policy has never been tried. Real democratic socialism has never been tried. Right? And we can see it. No, there it is. This is what happens when they get what they want. Now, look at the United States of America at large with Joe Biden as the president and a near control of the House and Senate by the Democrat Party, which has been obviously and intentionally and intensely controlled by left-wing radical activists. Violent left-wing radical activists like Nancy Pelosi, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the like. And we see America, our jobs are disappearing, our inflation rates are running away with us, right? I mean, hey, when I lived in Hawaii, a gallon of milk was $8. That was 10 years ago. A gallon of gas was $5. That was 10 years ago, right? Those prices came down in Hawaii in the interim. While Donald Trump was president, and the America First slogan was the policy, while energy independence was a good thing, right? Now, the idea of energy independence is a dirty thought. That's the wrong thing. So that's kind of where we are now, guys. Patrick Lee says GTFO, the USA is finished. Just my opinion. Patrick, I'm gonna have to give you some pushback on that. We have problems. We do. But there's not a viable alternative. Right? If you want the freedom that you have in the United States, the only way you can leave the United States and have the level of freedom that still exists, despite the interference and tyranny of the enemy left, the only way you're going to be able to achieve that is if you're willing to go somewhere and just run a coup. No, I've got kids. I've got stuff. I'm staying here. I'm staying here for now. But I mean, if you want to live free and be happy outside of the United States of America, you need to go run a coup. Yeah. So, hey, maybe we should have a meeting about that. Maybe we should just pick some random commie country and go overthrow it. I don't care which one. Just throw fly shit at the map, wherever it lands. I mean, as Red Badger says, many know what the enemy is doing. Psychological warfare. Physiological warfare. There we go. Steve says we've wargamed that before. Yes. Dad says Canada. I don't know, it's awful cold. You sure you wouldn't rather have beaches? Okay. I'll say this about that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin in this show. If I were to assemble a team to go and overthrow a small country, one of the things I would want that country to have would be maximal growing season. Right? I would be less interested in the comfort of the weather and more interested in how well we could reestablish it through agrarian, agricultural development. Because the end result in a coup of the magnitude that we're talking there does involve at least the temporary retardation of the functional infrastructure. So now, Sergeant Major, now you're talking. All right, guys, y'all be safe out there. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.